The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
And good morning. You're listening to the world famous Butch and Bob Show. Butch Everett here with you, along Bob Morgan on this. What day of the week is this, Bob?
Wednesday.
Wednesday morning. And we do appreciate you waking up and tuning in to 105.5 FM in Jesup. World famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply in downtown Jesup, along with the Women's Health Center in downtown Jesup, Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street, and also brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. And on the phone with us live from Atlanta, Georgia, is State Representative Bill Werkheiser. And Bob, take it away and see what's going on there in Atlanta.
Okay. Hi, Bill. How are you doing today?
Good. Good morning, Butch and Bob. Always good to hear from y'all.
Always good to hear from you. A lot going on. Again, we talked with Blake Tiller yesterday. He talked about his Senate bill that he was going to sponsor, or sponsored by the governor, but he was going to present it. It passed by a vote of 32-20. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Your thoughts on the Patients First Act?
I am, and I think it's a great move, and it shows the commitment of Governor Kemp to follow through on some of his campaign promises. And so this is something that's going to affect all Georgians, and he made it a priority during the campaign, and that we've got to figure out a way to ensure more people. And it's, you know, a lot of people think, well, it's just the lower income, but there's a lot of people who make enough money not to get federal or state programs, but then they can't afford, you know, the rising health care costs. So I think it's a good start.
Well, we got the press release here. I'm going to read a little bit, but I want you to explain exactly what it's going to do. It says the Patients First Act will provide the best possible pathway to increase access to care, while also lowering the cost of health care for hardworking Georgians in every zip code. Again, this is from Blake Tillery. Tillery says, with this bill, Georgia will be able to seek the waivers we need to design a system that implements the optimal solutions to address problems with our health care delivery systems. Senate Bill 106 would authorize the Georgia Department of Community Health to seek a Section 1115 Medicaid waiver from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It would also authorize Governor Kemp's administration to apply for a Section 1332 waiver, also known as a State Relief and Empowerment Waiver, to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to help lower the cost of private health insurance. The bill also provides provisions for implementation processes associated with the waivers. So that's what the press release says. In layman's term, tell us exactly what it's going to do.
So in layman's terms, there are no specifics because we, as a state, we have refused to, quote, expand Medicaid because of the cost. You know, proponents for it says, well, the federal dollar match is a lot of money coming in, but the problem is the states that have done it have not done well financially because of, A, the cost the state has to put in, and you're locked into everything the federal government tells you. And as we all know, our federal government hasn't seemed to have the best answers when it comes to policy. So we're actually going to be one of the first states to the waiver number that he mentioned is to do this, is to say, it's to give us a waiver or an exemption to say, look, we want the federal dollars, but we want you to grant it down to us, meaning give us the lump sum of money that you would give us normally on a Medicaid waiver, but without all the restrictions. Let us determine how we want to spend it. And so this first step is an application for a waiver. And so the details of how we want to do it are not out yet. This is just to asking the federal government to give us an exemption to, quote, expand Medicaid, and that's a tough term to use it, but it's the only term people know, but to do it on our own terms.
Okay, another story that's heating up in Atlanta, we've been following here on the local news. It's a bill that would allow the state to take over Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Cleared a state Senate committee on Tuesday, overcoming opposition by the city of Atlanta and Delta Airlines, who also are against this, but is gaining momentum. Senate Bill 131, introduced by Senator Burt Jones, would create a Georgia major airport authority to control the Atlanta airport. So this seems to be picking up steam. Where do you stand on this, and where do you see this going?
Well, I guess from an outside, and I have so they did a study committee all summer, the Senate on the Senate side, to study the issue. There has been, anytime you don't have oversight, and I have one of those issues in my issue this afternoon in workers' comp, anytime there's not any oversight, in government, it's a dangerous position to be in. And right now, the airport is in a very closed-loop system where very few players are making decisions on the world's busiest airport. And so what the Senate has said is maybe we need to expand this and, still the city of Atlanta, have seats on the board, people at the airport, Delta, those players have a seat. But let's expand that and let's put some House and Senate members or other people on that board to have a bigger, broader perspective, to put more transparency and openness. And so on the surface, I'm for that because I think anytime you expand transparency and ethics in government, it's a good thing.
Chiller yesterday, he talked about having a second airport possibly somewhere like in Macon, Georgia. Is that discussion taking place as well?
So, and again, I think that's why some of the folks are fighting this, because they see that as an avenue toward that. When you've got the world's largest airport and yet you're landlocked, it does beg the question, do we need a second airport? And if you do much flying, it's probably the worst airport to get in and out of as far as lines, parking, everything else, because it's gotten so big. I do a considerable amount of flying, and in almost every airport, once you get out of Atlanta, you go to another city, and you get off the plane, and you walk down, get to the inner terminal, you can get to the parking lot or whatever. With Atlanta, you've got to get on a train just to get to the terminal. So at some point, and as the state in Atlanta keeps growing, I don't know. I don't know the cost behind what it would take to do that, but I just know when you fly out of Atlanta, you can tell the difference in that airport and almost every other airport. It's a pain. It's nothing like flying out of Savannah or even Jacksonville as far as getting in and out. I can arrive at Jacksonville an hour before my flight leaves. In Atlanta, you better minimally get there 2 hours early. Well, the reason you fly is to cut down time, so it can become counterproductive.
I understand that. Again, if you're just joining us on the phone, this is Wednesday with Werkheiser. State Representative Bill Werkheiser on the phone. Another story that won't seem to die is this battle between State Representative David Clark, Republican, author of a resolution demanding Ralston's resignation. The speaker spoke, said he didn't do anything wrong, but yesterday the representative said he's not backing down. He's still looking for more signatures for his resolution. Your thoughts on that? I'm sure you heard the House Speaker's speech in Atlanta. So tell us what's going on between these two guys.
Well, and I was there, and I think the Speaker, just by the absence of signatures on the resolution, the Speaker's got the majority of support. And look, he's a defense attorney. And I know it makes people mad just to hear some of the stories, but if you're a defense attorney, you defend people who have been committed of crimes. One of the things that makes our country different than almost any other country is our constitutional right of innocent until proven guilty and due process. You may not like the type of folks that he defends, I guess, until you or a family member needs a criminal defense lawyer. But I think he laid out a good case that where the Atlanta Journal and Constitution was not fair in laying out what has actually happened. They didn't talk about the 23 cases that have been tried the last couple of years. They're focusing on 4 that have not been tried yet. They say that he's delaying. And one of the things they did not bring out, that 2 of these cases were already on the docket for May and June after session, and those were put on the calendar before this story ever broke. So it's not like he ran to the judge up in North Georgia and say, hey, we need to hurry and get these on the calendar. So like most things, there's two sides of the story. And I think we need to be cautious and wait until we hear both sides before we, decide who's guilty or innocent.
Well, one interesting part of the story is they're dealing with a law that dates back to 1905, and that's what Ralston said. He's going to appoint a commission that would tighten the legislative rules that would change that law. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I think we do, and I think he's right on that. So originally the law in 05 was if you're an attorney, you could claim legislative privileges during session and 3 weeks after, because you can imagine, I mean, it's just how crazy it is up here. If I was an attorney, well, like Blake Tiller, he's an attorney. If a judge puts something on the calendar for tomorrow, that's not fair to constituents because we're only here for 40 days. So Blake could claim legislative leave privileges and have that delayed until 3 weeks after session. Well, in 06, the law was changed to allow that privilege to extend 365 days. So that's what some people are mad about, and that's what the Speaker said, hey, we probably need to revisit that. Let's look at what other states are doing, and let's go back to the 06 version.
I
agree with that.
I think the reason it's getting a lot of attention is the fact that this is a Republican that's attacking Ralston. Do you know this guy from Buford, Representative?
Oh, yeah, we came in together. Good guys. I mean, they're both good guys. Yeah, I mean, I like them. I like both of them. One of the things that, there's speculation he's running for Congress. So some people think, well, maybe this is I don't say stunt, but
a way to get his name out there. I get you.
Yeah, who knows? And again, just like I don't want to judge the Speaker before I heard all the facts, I'm not going to judge Representative Clark's motives and why he's doing something. He may feel like this is the right thing to do. If he does, who am I to judge either one?
And what's the latest?
One thing I found out that the older I get, the less I need to judge people because I'm a pretty bad person myself.
What?
We don't know what people's motives are, their heart. We see what they do. But thankfully, God's grace extends beyond, anything any of us do. So I try to try not to be judgmental of other people.
I understand. We got other guests in the green room, but before I let you go, the update on broadband, where we stand on that?
I'm still moving through that. Had a hearing yesterday, and then I'm carrying the Communication Service Tax bill, which is had my first hearing there, and we're making changes. You probably, again, like most bills, we're probably not going to get to the nitty gritty because stuff just gets changed so much in the committee process. So, but they are front and center, and they're being worked on.
Okay, Bill. Always good to talk to you on Wednesday. Wednesdays with Workheiser. Appreciate you calling in, and this seems like things are heating up and getting interested in Atlanta. So it should be fun. The next when's crossover day coming up? I think they said March 7th.
Sounds right. And then we're getting out April 2nd.
April 2nd.
So, yeah, today's, let's say, day.
They should let you out April Fool's Day. Why don't you let you out April Fool's Day?
Well, we probably should.
Okay, Bill. Thanks again. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Bill Werkheiser, State Representative, on the phone with us this morning live from Atlanta, Wednesdays with Werkheiser. Bob, we got more guests here in the studio.
Yeah, we got some City of Jesup representatives in the studios. City Manager Mike Deal, D-Day Director Molly O'Hare, and always good to see you too. So what's something about scrap tires? That's what I saw on the board.
Scrap tires?
Before we get started, Bob, let me say one thing. I just talked to the mayor, and, Hannah underwent major surgery with her leg last night, and she's out. The surgery got out at 2 a.m. this morning. They got to see her about 3. They think it went well. That was probably 12 hours of surgery.
Where was it at? Down in Jacksonville?
Yeah, down in Jacksonville. Was it Shands? I'm not sure.
Okay.
But anyway.
Our thoughts and prayers are with her. Like I said, she's been through a time. Everybody's familiar with the story.
A perfect little angel.
Right. And it always has a smile on her face. Like I said, she's an inspiration to many people.
Keep keep your prayers going for that family.
Definitely will.
She's got a long road. Going to be in ICU for a couple of days, but everything looks good right now.
Well, good. We'll keep on praying for her. But y'all here to talk about something about scrap tires? That's what I saw on the board. What we going on with scrap tires?
That's right.
Yeah. You may start. Okay. This is not new for us. We've had several in the past. The state presents a scrap tire program so we can collect tires. You know, tires
We mean the city. The city can collect.
The city or the county.
Where do you collect them at? Because like I said,
Down at the convenience center.
Okay.
Across from the cemetery.
So
What we do is we
by the
apply for
farmer's
that
market.
grant.
By the farmer's market.
farmer's
Okay, I got you. Okay.
We apply for that grant, and once we collect them, they will come in and pick them up at no charge, and they pay the EPD. It's an EPD grant through the state and maybe even through the federal government that will pay the cost of those tires. And you know, when you go get a tire changed at the tire shop, you have to pay $2 for them to hold that tire or dispose of that tire. So lots of people will take them with them, and they end up in the ditch, end up packed in the back of their house or whatever.
Or on the side of the road,
thrown
in the ditch or something.
roadside.
That's why I had the big cleanup sale.
And there's some dangers associated with those tires. You know, a tire will collect water. It's going to collect water if it's laying there. Anyway, it's laying. Actually, if it's standing up, it'll collect in the bottom. If it's laying down, it'll collect in that bottom portion there. And it's mosquitoes love it.
It's a skeeter beater.
Yeah, mosquitoes have all kind of illnesses associated with them, and so this is a good way to try to clean up. We've done it in the past, and then this is actually part of that $2 money that's set aside. There was a sunset on it, and then there were several years they did not do it, and now they brought it back, and this is our second. And Molly applied for that grant, and we were successful. We had one, Molly, a year ago?
In 2017, we collected about 60 tons, I think, of tires.
Yeah.
60 tons.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So when's this taking place? What are you here to get this information out? What?
It will be this Friday and Saturday, March 1st and 2nd, and next Friday and Saturday, March 8th and 9th, at the Jesup Convenience Center next to the Farmers Market from 8 to 5. So 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can take them at no charge and dispose of all those used tires.
So if you got used tires around and you didn't want to pay the $2, or you just happen to have them around, like a lot of folks do,
That's
just
right.
take them to the convenience center next to the Farmers Market this Friday and Saturday, or the following Friday and Saturday. Don't cost you a dime. Y'all got the grant to be able to dispose of these in an environmentally friendly manner, right?
That's right.
The big question is, how many tires can they bring? Last time we limited it because we got $50,000 to dispose of those tires, and that's the limit. That's a tough question to answer. You know, I don't want somebody bringing 500 tires, but you know, somebody brought that many, 2 or 3 people brought that many, then we'd have to close it down. We're going to have to close it down at a certain point. But if you have 10 tires, if you have 20 tires, if you have 50 tires, bring them on.
So up to 50. Wow.
Well, and actually,
Who has 50
you know,
tires laying around there? Of course, I've seen some homes out there that may have 50 tires
You'd
laying
be
around.
shocked.
That's right.
And we'll take tires of any type. And
How about the tires that are used for front yard decoration?
yeah, we'd love to have those. You can keep them decorated. No, you know, each his own.
I've
If
seen
that's what they
homes of
want.
those.
I've seen them. We have one actually in the Cracker Williams Center. It's a toy tire that's sitting over there. I told the guys yesterday, I said, we could bring some of our tires down here.
And speaking of Cracker Williams, I know they had an update yesterday. Everybody keeps asking about how that project's going. You know, just give us the quick update.
It's going great. Molly can tell you a little bit more about the inside, but we're working on that project, and actually there's 3 parts to that project.
There's the inside, the outside, and the pool, I guess.
The inside, outside, and the pool, and all of them are going good. Listen, it's gonna be beautiful when we finish. And
Do we have a completion date? Like I said,
No, we don't have. You know me, Bob. You asked me that. Come on, man. Come on,
Construction.
Just
You
don't
never
work
kill
it.
hell.
Well, what scares me is, like I said, they had a warning sign for people, and no one paid attention to that. But there was a safety issue. You didn't want people at the park, but no one paid attention to that.
Well, they're doing pretty good during the daytime hours, Monday to Friday. Not too many come in.
Maybe that's my pet peeve. The McMillan Creek Trail, that's where I go to walk. I can't understand, why do people destroy that trail? I mean, somebody goes out there constantly and puts holes in that trail. I know the city goes and repairs it, which has got to be a tremendous cost. Can we put surveillance cameras up there? Can we put a
some deer
reward out there? Anybody who finds out who these fools are that destroying the trail, there's a reward for arrest and conviction.
We should do that.
It's criminal damage to property. I mean, how many times do you have to go out there and repair? It's just every time I go out there, there's a hole here, hole there, and it's just, you can tell it's somebody that's taking the time to intentionally put a hole in it.
Don't you have to bring a power tool to go through that wood?
Who knows?
It's
I told somebody just yesterday, the only problem with this world is people. And,
well, it's 5% of the population. There's a reason why we got so many laws.
I mean, it's just a great trail. It's got the bird feeder. It's got a picnic table. I mean, a lot of people use it, but somebody's going out there, or I just can't. What is the pleasure of destroying that property? I just don't get it.
And
what's the pleasure of doing donuts in a baseball field?
Well, that's true too. I mean,
stuff like that.
Just frustrating.
I did just get a text, by the way. It says tire only, no metal. That's not true, really. We will take them with the metal on them.
You will take them with metal.
The factory will, or the people that take them will take that metal out. They grind them up. And now, there again, we're going by tons, and we get charged by tons. So we get charged a little bit more for that metal inside if the wheel's inside. But we will take some with the metal on it.
Now, what about the other parkway, McMillan Creek Parkway, where it was destroyed some during the storm a few years ago? Is that ever going to be repaired?
Yeah, we're working on that now. Actually, the inmates, once they finish Cracker Williams, will go over there, except for the fact that we have a bid out right now for someone else to go in. I think that's due on Monday. We're accepting sealed bids to see how much it would cost for someone else to go in and fix it. And if that's a reasonable price, we'll go ahead and pay that to get it back open.
You mentioned the dates, Molly. What about the time?
8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
5 p.m. So you're doing this next weekend too, is what you said.
That's right.
That's in conjunction with Peaches to Beaches, so you don't want people from Macon bringing tires down here to the
Well,
I mean, are you going to limit this to Wayne County?
we have said city and county residents, but
Okay. So
Yeah, we're going to open it up. You know, we're partners with the Scriven and Odom in the county. We're going to let anyone.
Okay, so Wayne County.
So just Wayne County tires.
Wayne County.
I said.
Pretty for Wayne County.
Yeah, it's all
Peaches
Wayne County.
to Beaches goes all the way to Macon to the coast.
Yeah, Molly's going to, before she goes out to Peaches to Beaches, she's going to go load some tires in those big
Yes, sir. Molly up there loading tires.
Sounds like a good program. I said it's just a nuisance with people dumping them. So this is a great opportunity. They just come, dispose of them, bring it to one place, be done with it.
Well, there's really no place that will take them. You know, the landfill can take them if they're cut open or ground up or cut apart. But they don't do it because EPD don't want them in there, basically.
Where do the tire shops take them? We take, like I said, when you get a new tire, they take where do they dispose of them at? Where do they go?
Basically, the same company that we deal with.
I got you.
Do they, grind these things up and use them for pavement and stuff like that? I've seen places where it looks like there was little strips of tire.
Yeah, there's several uses for them. There's a quart of oil in every tire, every small tire. So some burn and extract this and reuse that, use it in the paving process. But there's just not a lot you can do with a tire to make it profitable.
Okay.
They do grind it up, but when they grind it up, they got to take that metal out. So
Right.
there's steel belts in that tire, and they got to take that metal out. But the main issue, other than mosquito-borne illness, is if you got 2,000 tires stacked up in some place and they catch fire, you've had it.
Right.
It's going to burn.
You're going to burn for a while.
It's
huh?
going to burn. And when it burns, that oil seeps out and goes into the ground. So you got a major case, and that's one reason.
And tires are forever, aren't they? They don't really.
Pretty much.
They stay around. They don't go. You can go to some old farmhouses and see some tractor tires there from 50 years ago. And they're still sitting
Here's
there.
another thing that's kind of weird. You would think that you could put them in the landfill, but supposedly, if they go in the landfill, they have air inside of that tire, and the air makes it rise to the surface. Now,
Oh, wow.
listen, I can't believe if you got tons of garbage on top of that thing, it's going to come to the top. I've never actually, and I've been involved in landfills, I've never actually seen one rise to the top. But, maybe they're talking about 50 years or 100 years. If they do, you pick that one up and put it back under the bottom. I don't know. I'm not the expert here, but I am excited about the scrap tire grant, and maybe we can get some.
Well, Molly, why don't you once again kind of wrap up what you're here for about the days and the times and what people can do with their old tires?
Yes, we are accepting used tires, scrap tires, on this Friday and Saturday, March 1st and 2nd, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., as well as next Friday and Saturday, March 8th and 9th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Jesup Convenience Center, which is located across from the cemetery next to the Farmers Market on 1st Street. And so that you can take them there at no charge, and the city will make sure that they are properly disposed of.
Okay. Mike, did you ever grow up swinging on a tire swing?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a lot of time to swing. I grew up on a farm. We worked.
You worked.
But, yeah. And, we did swing a little bit. It was fun stuff.
Today's kids don't have the experience of really doing farm work like we did when we grew up. Everything's so automated today that you don't need as much labor as you used to. And so people don't understand that. I guess that's the reason why you got the agritourism business, like with Popple Farms and other farms throughout the state, that people can actually go visit and see what farm life is like.
Oh, yeah.
And it's good that people need to get out and see that, because it's a little different culture out there doing that.
I tell a lot of people I retired when I left the farm. I didn't work that hard.
All right, Mike and Molly in here from the city of Jesup. Appreciate y'all coming in anytime that y'all want to come on and talk about what's going on with the city of Jesup. We would love to have you on.
Mike and Molly, that's a TV show. You're going to have your own
Mike
TV
and
show.
Molly.
There you go.
That's right, it was a TV show.
We're excited about our cleanup. We try to have special events to help the people out from time to time, and this is just something we could do. And it was fairly easy. Now it'd be a lot of work offloading and onloading those tires, but
Who's going to do that?
our guys
Your
will
guys
do
in
it. Some of
city?
our guys
Okay.
will do it, and Molly.
And Molly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right.
Take pictures.
All right, take care. All right, 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country, WIFO, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street, Women's Health Center on Cherry Broad Street in downtown Jesup, and Murphy Builder Supply, Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup.
World famous Butch and Bob Show.